Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Vendo podcast. My name is Nicolas Martinez, and I'm the VP of Marketing here at Vendo. Hope everyone's been doing well and getting ready for Prime Day coming up here in just a couple weeks. Today, we're going to be talking about a beta program that Amazon came out with sometime last year. I believe it began being tested, but has gotten more prevalent in recent months. And that is the Onsite Editorials program, also known as the Editorial Recommendations or the Onsite Associates program. And today we're going to be talking about what this program is, how it works, the different KPIs to look at when assessing and analyzing the performance, and then some of the case studies and data that we're seeing here at Vendo with the dozens and dozens of on-site editorial campaigns we've been pushing out this year for our brand partners. It's been a really impressive program. I will say it has been a bit hit and miss though, but when it hits, it really hits hard. And through the last 6 months or so of running tests and case studies and launching it for several brands, we've really learned the ins and outs of how to make sure that it is going to perform as best as possible. But again, keep in mind, it's a beta program. So as is the case with many other betas, it is not without flaw and without issue that are often out of our control. But we'll dig into that and show you guys all the different tips and tricks on how we've learned to really make this program pay off in a big way. And by a big way, I'm talking sales growth, of course. And just to maybe leave a little bit of excitement here for the beginning, I will share that across our brands, we're seeing between a 50 to 70% lift on that specific product within the first month. So definitely make sure you listen in and feel free to let us know if you have any questions. All right, so what is the Onsite Editorial program? Well, it's basically editorials or PR on site on the Amazon platform. And I think the best way to really bring this to light is to share my screen real quick. And for those of you who are watching on YouTube or IGTV, you can see here, but I'll also try describing it as best as possible. But yeah, basically here, as you can see on the screen, when you are searching a certain keyword on Amazon, I've typed in serving tray as an example, and you scroll down through the results and past the first round of ads, or maybe the second round or third round of ads, you're going to see this section here called the editorial recommendation section. And so maybe you've seen this before and you've been wondering how to get involved. Well, that's what we're going to talk about. Maybe you've already been running some editorials and you want to learn about how to make them go further. Well, that's what we're going to talk about today as well. But just visually to see this section, you type in a keyword such as serving tray, you scroll down, not even 10% of the way down the search results, right before or after the video ad, you're going to see an editorial recommendation section. In this example here, the name of the editorial recommendation section is called Best Serving Trays, and it's showing 3 different products that the editorial has been written about. So this is how it shows up on Amazon. But before I dig into the details of that, you're probably wondering, how do you get your editorial up? Well, it's kind of a complex process and one that we, again, have quite a bit of experience with. But essentially, we formed a partnership where we work with a PR partner that has access to a network of publishers. In this example here that I'm showing, the publisher that wrote the editorial is called Ask Men. I've never heard of that, but maybe you have. But there's definitely very well-known publishers. I've seen, Men's Health Magazine, People Magazine, you name it. So it's a vast network of publishers that participate in this program. And essentially, how it works is we, as your Amazon management firm, we go out there and we pitch your products to the network of publishers via our PR partner. And once a publisher is interested in writing on that product, they go ahead and do so. Now, the only thing that we can provide that publisher with, in addition to the product, of course, is the keywords we want the editorial to target. So in this example here, the editorials came up for the keywords serving trays. Now these editorials will also be showing up for 2 other keywords. So what we do is we perform all the keyword research on the product. Really, we decide what are the 3 keywords, because you can pick 3, that we want this editorial to show up for. And so just like when you're picking keywords to target for optimization or for ads, you know, you want to look at the search volume and you want to look at the relevancy. So, you know, we're going to look at what is the monthly search volume for the keyword. Is it a high search volume? Well, that's going to mean more eyes on the editorial, more traffic, and more sales. So we want to pick a keyword with a high search volume, but we also want to balance that with relevancy. So, you know, if the keyword is not relevant to the product, well, that's not going to convert well, right? So that's not going to be meaningful. So we want to pick a keyword that's very relevant and also has a good amount of search volume. But one other thing we have to look at is the current organic ranking of the product. And so what we've learned over time, and this again is what comes from the experience that we've had, is that Amazon does not want to show editorials where the product isn't already ranking in the top 50 search results. So it needs to already show that it has a high authority for that product. So let's summarize here. You got to pick a product, and you got to pick keywords for that product, and you got to pick a product that's already ranking, let's say, within the top 50 for those keywords that you're choosing. Okay, so we pick a product, we pick the 3 keywords, we make sure that it has high relevancy, high monthly search volume, and indexing in the top 50. And then we go out there and we pitch that product to a network of publishers. Now we have that network of publishers we can work with. And so it makes it more seamless. But then basically whichever publisher decides they want to write that editorial, they're going to write that editorial, and they're going to have to include those 3 keywords that we recommended. So, you know, in this example here, the editorial is called Best Serving Trays. You know, you'd have to imagine that one of the keywords that was chosen was serving trays, very relevant, very high search volume. So good balance there. And then of course we can confirm that because we can see that the editorial is showing up right now for the search term serving tray. So that's kind of the process of you know, that's the process of how it works, and also the process, the overview of what it is. But just to expand a little bit more on how it works after the publisher picks the product and decides to write the editorial. So they write the editorial, and then once it's written, it is then given back to Amazon, or given to Amazon for the first time rather, to moderate. So Amazon's actually going to review and decide whether or not to approve that editorial. And that process can take, you know, a month or even longer. In fact, the whole process of pitching the product to the publisher, having the publisher write the editorial, having Amazon review and approve, hopefully approve that editorial, that whole process takes anywhere between 3 to 8 weeks. So you're looking at 3 to 8 weeks until the editorial goes live on Amazon. So just keep that in mind when you're planning to roll out these campaigns. But once it runs on an ongoing basis. And you can decide whether you want to run it ongoing or if you want to stop it at the end of a certain amount of months, depending on the performance. Of course, if the performance is well, it's probably going to make sense to just keep the editorial running ongoing. And that's something, you know, that is a little bit different than a lot of other marketing campaigns that you may just do one time. And so you're probably wondering, well, you know, how do I evaluate if this editorial was running well? Well, the best way to evaluate is to look at the different buckets of KPIs. And so there's really 3 different KPIs with how this works. One KPI is, of course, the directly attributable editorial sales. So how many people actually clicked the product in the editorial? And I'll share my screen again here. So what that means is how many people actually chose the product in this editorial and clicked it like I just did, and purchased it. So they actually have to click it and purchase it in order for that sale to be attributed to the editorial, directly attributed. They can also open the article and click the product within the article itself. And there's also a tracking ID in the link there so that we can directly attribute sales from this editorial. As you can see in the editorials, they're always done in a positive light. So this editorial example, and for those of you who can't see my screen, it's called the best serving trays. And so the 5 different categories that this publisher decided to rate on are top pick, best quality, wooden pick, contender, and also consider. So they actually go through and they evaluate your product and compare it to other products for that keyword and give it a category kind of award as described there. So when we're learning about how the editorials have performed, one of the big KPIs, of course, is going to be how many people clicked the product in the actual editorial article or the placement and purchased it. The other area that we're going to look at is the ad performance. And this also leans into another reason why there really are 3 different KPIs we want to look at. Because sure, the sales that come from the editorial itself are going to be important. But interestingly enough, we are actually seeing the biggest sales boost from this program coming from the positive impact that it has on ads, as well as that it has on organic ranking. So if I share my screen again, I'll take you through our strategy for ads. Basically, when we're running an editorial, let's say we're doing a serving tray, and this is our product, the 3-tier classic serving platter. Well, we're gonna wanna make sure that we're aggressively targeting those same 3 keywords so that we're dominating as many ad placements as possible when the editorial is running. So for example, we would wanna be running an ad on the sponsored brand or headline search ad, as it was formerly known. So we want your ad showing up here. We also want your ad showing up in the sponsored products results. So we want it showing here. We also want it showing up in the video results. So before you get to the editorial, before the consumer gets to the editorial, which again is only about 10% down the search results, they're going to have seen your product 3 to 4 different times. So in theory, we could show your product 4 to 5 different times within the first 10% of search results. Now imagine that. You're a consumer, you're searching serving tray. You see your product once, twice, 3 times, boom. And then the fourth time or 5th time, it's an editorial coming with so much credibility, right? And you can actually read into it and learn more. And so all of that really works together with the editorial being the cherry on top to contribute to a higher click-through rate and conversion rate on the ads. And so what our advertising team is seeing is when this editorial is running, click-through rate shoots up, ACoS goes down, right? Your advertising cost of sale is now less than it was before. Your ROAS is shooting up. Your conversion rate shooting up, and overall your ad performance is just performing much better. So that's why looking at the performance of the ads while the editorial is running is so incredibly important. And what we usually do here is we set up a segmented ad campaign specific to supplementing the editorial, so that we can kind of see granularly how those aggressive bids and budgets on those 3 keywords are performing while that editorial is performing, okay? So that's a big area there. Now, the other big area is gonna be with organic ranking, right? Because of course, we're driving ad sales on these 3 keywords. We're driving editorial sales on these 3 keywords. So, we're really putting all the focus on those 3 keywords. And so all of the sales that are going to come in because of this editorial, or in addition to this editorial, are going to be on those 3 keywords. And so as we drive more and more sales on those keywords, the ranking is going to drive up organically. And so we're going to be tracking, how did my product rank before the editorial went live? How does it rank now that it's running? Okay. And so we've seen some really awesome results with that. because organic ranking goes up, organic sales go up. And I'll talk a little bit in just a moment about those results and what we've been seeing as far as a case study goes. But just to recap here, we are going to be looking at ad sales increase, organic ranking lift in the relevant sales increase, and then we're going to be looking at the directly attributable editorial sales and how that all works together to really result in that lift that I mentioned earlier. So let's talk now about some case studies we've been seeing and what to expect. We've been running this across dozens and dozens of brands, and again, sometimes it's hit and miss. Why is it a miss? Well, it's a beta program, and there's a lot that's out of our control. For example, Amazon might decide one day they just don't want to show editorials on that keyword. So for certain days or even weeks out of the month, your editorial's just not showing up. And there's nothing, unfortunately, that we can really do about that, because that's Amazon making changes on the back end as part of this beta. There's also areas or moments where new competitors come into the picture and start taking over some of the market share. And so now 2 to 3 months later, when the editorial goes live, the ranking and authority that your product has for those keywords has changed, and it's no longer as competitive. So that's another example. But in examples where this is a big hit and it really takes off, and we don't have any of those kind of uncontrollable technical issues, what we've been seeing is an increase of anywhere between 50 to 70% within the first month on that product that we're targeting. We also see a halo effect where maybe the main product we're targeting sees a 50 to 70% lift, but the child ASINs or the variations see a lift, but not nearly as much. Or even other products in the catalog see a halo effect from bringing extra awareness to the brand in the catalog. But overall, about 50 to 70% is what we're seeing. And interestingly, as I mentioned before, a majority of these positive increases are actually coming from the organic and ad sales lift, not the directly attributable sales from the editorial. So we see a lot of people who see the editorial, but they don't buy, or they don't even read the editorial. They just see the placement, but then they go back up and they click one of the ads, or they click one of the organic results. And so we usually actually only see a small, maybe 10 or 20% coming from the editorials, and the additional increase coming from organic and ad sales lift. So pretty amazing, the impacts we're seeing already with the Onsite editorial program. You're getting PR, you're getting brand awareness, you're getting extra credibility, you're seeing a positive correlation on the performance of your ads. So your ad money, your ad budget is going further, and then of course you're seeing an organic sales lift. This all works together beautifully to contribute to that 50 to 70% lift we're seeing. So that is the Onsite Editorials, aka Onsite Associates Editorial Recommendations Program in a nutshell. Hope everyone enjoyed and really learned a lot today. If you have any questions, which I'm sure there are, please feel free to leave them in the comment section below, or feel free to email us directly at hello@vendocommerce.com. Happy always to talk shop and be of assistance, as is the wider team. Follow us across social media at Vendo Commerce. Subscribe to our channel, please. And thank you as always for tuning in today. We look forward to seeing you next week.